we're here. And moving on, now we're going back across the pond. We got Euros, we got knockout football, and man, where we begin? I mean, great round of 16 for Euros.
Heck yeah.
Quickly going over them. Denmark beats Wales 4-0. Italy beats Australia in extra time 2-1. Czech Republic beats Netherlands 2-0. Belgium beats Portugal 1-0. And then maybe the craziest day of knockout soccer in a while. Spain beats Croatia 5-3 in extra time. France loses to Switzerland 3-3 or tie 3-3, loses 4-3 in P or 3-5, 4-5 in PKs.
Right.
England beats Germany 2-0. Ukraine beats Sweden 2-1. Guti, let's start. What was your biggest takeaway?
Man, well, they were good, man. They were all good, especially like they're good because none of my teams are playing. I don't root for any of these teams, so it's always fun to watch good games when you're not even part of that fan base. But obviously going back, we kind of called some of these. We were shocked by a couple of them, especially I think most people were shocked about Switzerland, France. We thought Switzerland had no opportunity to be there, but France is out. They were definitely the most, I would say, anticipated team to win the whole thing, and they're gone. I don't think they lost in PKs, that's how they probably were going to lose, right? It's the only way they were going to lose to that team, and they did. But also they did give up 3 goals, so there's nothing to lose there. And then the Spain Croatia, man, that was crazy. I felt like it's hard to say that's a great game. 8 goals. I'm like, 8 goals means like really sloppy defending, right? And if you looked at a couple of the goals, you're like, come on, bro. And obviously started off with, the Spanish goalkeeper giving up like just a terrible goal, and obviously that's how it's kind of hard to climb out of that hole. And then Croatia just got like at the end too, as they came back, in overtime, they just kind of like got sloppy on defense, and Morata was wide open on that one. Defenders, it wasn't even a defender back there. So it was good though, man. 5-3 was good to watch when it's not your team. And then obviously I think the biggest takeaway, I think the best game was, England, Germany was pretty good. It was probably one of the best games for sure. Just going back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so many different things you saw. I mean, yeah. Where do we begin? With the France, I think you saw a team in Switzerland who was well organized, who didn't fear France, who I think were very comfortable playing France. Part of it, I think, had to do with France coming out with a 3-4-3 lineup and something that it didn't look like it completely clicked. And when it did click, you saw for 20 minutes right after the PK save what the France that I think a lot of people were expecting wanted to look like. And you saw it in those 15, 20 minutes when they came back from 1-0 to take that 3-1 lead. And then you saw again just the sloppiness and the lack of cohesionness, I think, in that back line of 3 that France were not comfortable playing in. And I think all credit has to go to Switzerland because we've talked about these teams and the levels. We thought France were a level above and beyond all these other teams. You look at a team like Sweden, who don't have a large amount of big names. They have a couple of guys who play in pretty big clubs, but what they do have is they have a lot of players who play in these leagues and who play for good teams in these leagues. And they've been around actually for quite a little bit. Rodriguez is a guy that I've been remembering for a while. You have Sommer, who's been in Gladbach, who plays decently, who's been a keeper also that I've recognized for a while. And, I think it's one of those things where because of who missed it and the tournament he's had and Mbappe, I think a lot of the fault's going to go to him. And
I think kind of unfair though, but yeah, I agree. It's unfair though.
If he misses one, if he puts away the ball that Pogba gives him in overtime, in extra time, it's 4-3. And that's game, and they move on. I think so. And the fact that he didn't score all tournament long, and it's not me. I think the dude. I mean, he's 22 years old. The kid has a World Cup under his belt. He was a game away from winning a Champions League. He's pretty much accomplished almost anything you can. At 17, he led Monaco to the semifinals as well. He was possibly the best player for France in the World Cup 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But, it just shows how fickle the sport is as well. You know what I mean? Like we talk about and how it is, how you really have to take advantage when you do have a talented generation where 3 years ago, they win it. 5 years ago, I guess now they lose in the finals, and now here they're in the round 16. But you're still going to look in paper and say that's probably one of the most talented teams.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of these European teams are really, really talented. We're just going based off like, okay, the team that just won the World Cup always has that pressure, like, oh, they're going to do it again in Euros. But this shows you, and I saw a tweet about this, this shows you how tough that Spain run and how like well that was, where they got 2 Euros and a World Cup in between that. Like that is not easy to do, right? So, it's gonna look like we have to wait another round to see who could do that again. But yeah, I was impressed by Switzerland. Like you said, they had some player. They see that they had a Dominican player. You saw that? There's a kid from like Dominican parents. That was pretty cool. I guess he didn't want to play Copa Oro, so that's fine. But no, but it was cool, man. It was all around great games. It felt weird today not having any games. That Denmark game, man, like they just shut them down, man. So they're definitely going to be something to reckon with next round. I that was one of the teams that I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to go with Wales just to go with Wales, but I was totally wrong. Italy held off, right? They were able to hold off 2-1. That wasn't one of the best games out of the round, but good enough. And then Czech Republic, man, we're not talking about how surprising that was. They beat the Netherlands, man. So the no era penal, we are yesterday was the anniversary. So what it was 7 years, 7 years no era penal, and I guess they're talking about it's a curse, right? Since then they didn't make the World Cup. Since then they haven't done anything in Euros, So so we'll see. We'll see how they go. What'd you think about that Belgium game, man?
I mean, it was a good game. I mean, of course, the household was happy for the victory. It was when you looked on paper, that one and the Germany England game looked like the two toughest games. I think you're upset because Hazard got hurt and De Bruyne got hurt, and you're gonna have to play the quarterfinals without them. But what you saw was them actually be able to hold on to a lead, get pushed back and not completely fold. I think that was very impressive. I think if you're Belgium, because I think in years past, especially because the back three, they're all over 30. That looks like the weak part in being able to attack this team is attack them with pace, attack them and through out wide too, and really put the pressure on them. The fact that they were able to hold on 1-0, I think was fantastic for them and for Martinez, because I think Martinez does have the ability to be out-coached and be out-tinkered with in a game. And so for them not to happen against a good quality opponent like Portugal, I think was huge for Belgium moving forward. It'll be interesting, the matchup with Italy, because I think Belgium, even though they might be more talented, I think they still have the possibility of being out-coached and being out-strategized with what happens in the game, in the actual game-to-game, and the adjustments that can be made, if I'm being honest with you. But I think for Belgium, it's a huge step forward, and to have that depth where even if the older Hazard is going to be hurt and De Bruyne is going to be hurt, you're going to bring in Martins and you're going to bring in a Carrasco. Those are two backups. Those are really good backups to have that you can plug in for a starting lineup. Yeah,
man. We'll see how it goes. I was also impressed by the Ukraine, man. I was pulling for Ukraine at the end. I was like, we talked about how Sweden was just good enough to keep going. They're very composed in the first round. And then Ukraine, man, they just did not back down, bro. They just did not back down. And it was funny because there was about 2 minutes left in overtime. And I texted my buddy like, hey, we're going to go somewhere. And I said, you know what, let me just watch these PKs real quick. And as I'm typing PKs, they score. So he just texts back a Ukraine flag. And I was like, dang, dude, like, never mind. So, yeah, that was a great finish. And yeah, ready for the next round, man. On to the next for sure.
Yeah, so we got 4 matchups. We got quickly predictions. So we're gonna predict the next round like we did the last round.
Yeah, I lost last time. You got 5. You got 5 correct. Because no one picked Ukraine. So you got 5 out of 8. And I got 3. So I'm trying to redeem myself right here. And I might go a little opposite just because. So we'll see.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you think. But we got.
I'm gonna do better in Copa Oro, man. I'm gonna do better in Copa Oro. I can feel it, Martinique, Guadalupe. I'm gonna do better with that.
On Friday, we got Sweden against Switzerland. You got the Switzerland got another upset in them.
No, I don't think so. No? I think Spain. Yeah. I think Spain could. I think I don't know. We weren't impressed with them, but I think they're just gonna be pumped up off this win. I know like they should have already won in the first, but it's just that momentum they have going. I could see Spain outplaying Switzerland this time.
Yeah, I think Spain for this match. I think the chances they're creating and the way they're really rolling now. I think for Switzerland, it also might be such a drop emotionally for them. I mean, it takes a lot out of you, and you have to be so mentally locked in. And for them to do it twice in a row might be a little too much for them. but I wouldn't. I think they're still going to give Spain a good game, but I think Spain right now are rolling too much, especially 10 goals in the last 2 games. I think they're just going to create too many chances for Switzerland to be able to keep up. And I think when their style is so much different than France's, where we're relying so much on being so good defensively, and that weren't creating that many chances, and just figured that with the talent they have in attack, they're going to get it. Here, Spain kind of almost goes the opposite. It's like we're going to continue to kind of push the envelope up, and I think over time the dam will break. So I think Spain for me too.
Yeah, I think they're just good enough to keep going. You know, I just
You know
feel
what? By the time this comes out, the semifinals are going to be during the week too, so we might just have to predict our
all right.
finals here.
Okay,
So,
we could do
all right.
that.
So right now you got Spain against Switzerland. Later
Sure.
that day, we got Belgium against Italy. Who do you like in this game?
Just to go against you, man, just so I can even it out, I'm gonna go Italy.
Okay.
Just to, like I said, my Italian side, if you could tell the resemblance, I'm half Italian. No, I'm just playing. No, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna roll Italy, man. I'm just gonna go with them just to go against you, but I think Belgium can win, but I'm just gonna say Italy today. Let's say Italy.
Yeah. I like to stay. I like to stay off the couch at night, so I'm gonna go with Belgium. Keep riding the house tick. But another great matchup, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's gonna be great. Italy allowing a goal, that kind of mentality, I think, is not going to be broken because they went over 1,000 minutes without conceding. So now you have a team, and Belgium was like, all right, they've seen that it can happen. You're going to get the confidence of them, even if you're going to miss your two best attacking players in a way. And I really like the way Lukaku's been playing. I think him and Pogba. I mean, he's been one of the best players in the tournament, along with players like Pogba. I think he is a great opportunity for him to really lead the team to a semifinals win or a quarterfinals win.
Okay, so then if you have Belgium going on, and they're so you think Belgium can get past Spain or Switzerland before we go to and get to the final, or what?
Yes, I think Belgium will beat Spain. I think Spain. The thing with knockout football, I think we forget about it. It's so much more cagier, especially in international, that when you're kind of squeaking in and allowing goals, that can kind of manifest itself later down the tournament. So I think with Belgium, we've been able to be pretty consistent. But a team like I think Spain, and this kind of go with my pick for the other side too, on why I think they're going to make the finals. But when you're able to kind of hold on and be more consistent in the back and not allow these kind of cheap goals, I think that helps you longer term. So I think Belgium is set to play in the finals in a week and a half.
Okay, so I'm just gonna roll. I'm just stick on that side of the bracket. I'm just gonna go Italy passes by, and then they're also gonna get to the next one. So I do see Italy going to the final on that side of the bracket.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Yeah, and then the other one we got the world's team. I think Denmark against the Czech Republic. Czech Republic helped me save face when I said Belgium, when I said the Holland was gonna fall at some point, and they didn't. They didn't during the group stage, but they did in the round of 16. So shout out to the Czech Republic for helping me out with that. But with that said, for me, I'm gonna have to go Denmark. I think they're gaining confidence. They similar to the way we discussed Switzerland, where they just have really good players all over the field, like just good, solid quality players. I think here it's something similar where their highs might not be very high, but they don't have, but their bottom isn't bottom very low either. So I think just that level of 1 to 11, 1 to 14 that they're going to be able to bring, even with Christensen being out, helps them get past the Czech Republic.
I think overall they're going to be they're Czech. Hey, I wouldn't count the Czech Republic out though. But you just feel like one of these smaller, these runs they're making. I feel like sometimes when you get to this part, like okay, now the more solid team will win. So I think I'm gonna go with Denmark too, just because the way they've played their last 2-3 games. They're coming off really, at least 1-4-0, man. So they're rested, they're ready to go. So I'll go with Denmark as well. And I think one of the games that we think might be like a huge landslide. I wouldn't say it's not so fast, but yeah, Ukraine, England. What do you got?
I got England, man. They still haven't given up a goal. I think it's something that we discussed. Like they're not allowing. They had Mueller had a good chance to tie it up, and there was been a few chances where the back line's kind of squeaked up a little bit. But they've been very solid. It hasn't been pretty. I think everybody saw the attacking prowess that England has on paper, but he's been more conservative. Southgate in the approach with 2 defensive midfielders, back line of 3. But what that has allowed is they're not allowing goals, and he's made some good adjustments during the game, which is kind of impressive. It kind of makes you think that he should probably make some changes before the game, like in the starting lineup. But the fact that he's able to, seems like he's making the right choices at the right times in the middle of the game is good. So I think England beats Ukraine, and I'm going to have them in the finals as well for that same reason, that they just haven't they've been solid in the back. And I think that's so important in knockout football, when, especially at the international stage, when you're not letting in any goals, and that kind of builds confidence too.
Yeah, and we have we have time for we'll be recording our other episode before the final, so we don't have to give our final on that one yet. We'll have a chance to redeem ourselves for the final. But yeah, I definitely have England just being overall a better team, a big favorite, obviously, with the players they have, where they play, obviously their league, and Ukraine having a very emotional run. Winning overtime is no joke, beating a really strong Sweden team. I was hoping, if Ukraine plays someone else, even if they play Denmark or Czech, I think Ukraine would have a better opportunity. But I think, England will get past them, play Denmark, and then, we'll see if the final is England, Italy, like I think it is. So shout out to my English buddies. Yeah.
And I think England were happy to see Ukraine instead of Sweden. I think if it was going to be
my buddy Ben was. So shout out to my buddy Ben who listens to this. He definitely was excited to see Ukraine instead of Sweden.
Yeah, because I think Sweden had the type of mentality and the type of not fear to really go at England and make it frustrating for them. But they didn't get it done, and so here we are. So we've made our picks. We've talked around 16, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to head back down to South America, where we got some more knockout soccer to talk about here at Football Theory.